Hello and welcome to the Hospitality Twins podcast. I'm Jerry Reyes.
And I'm Ramon Reyes. Tourism offers us an opportunity to visit new places and experience new and exciting attractions.
But it's the people within the hospitality industry that make these experiences unique and memorable.
We look forward to shedding light on the talented people who make the hospitality industry special.
And also to providing coaching and career tips to those seeking to join our industry. All right. Well, we'd like to welcome everyone to the kickoff for season 2 of the Hospitality Twin podcast. This is a very special episode. This is just a discussion between Jerry Reyes and I, a reflection from season 1 and certainly a little bit of a discussion about our industry and where we stand, because where we now kick off this episode in season is very different compared to where we last left off. And so we're excited to kick off season 2, and I'll hand it over to Jerry. Well, so I echo that, and we are definitely in a different time, and we definitely would love to take this opportunity to first thank those participants that we had back in season 1 of our podcast. And we were excited to have them all join us and be able to share their stories and what they were currently experiencing, and obviously their outlook on the future of our industry. And we are obviously now in a different time, and we've seen a lot of progress being made in our industry with things beginning to ramp back up. We're obviously far from where we were and far from where we expected to be, but the optimism is strong, and the outlook on the future of our industry is definitely something that we're seeing transition rapidly to hopefully getting back to what we're going to term kind of a new normal. It's definitely an area of opportunity, but it's also an area of a lot of optimism. So, that being said, we definitely want to give thanks to those who joined us in season 1, and obviously appreciate their having shared their stories. And we were happy to hear their stories and excited to see the level of interest in season 1's podcast. And we've had the benefit of interacting with all of these individuals, a lot of which are actually back at work or in new positions, new roles. And that is something that is exciting and was exciting for us to see them transition back into.
And I think it's important also to give thanks to our listeners. We were fortunate to have so many people listen in and comment positively on our podcast, and really reflect on how some of the discussion applied to them and what they were going through within their own careers, and how their lives were impacted by the pandemic. And so, we want to certainly take time to thank everyone for listening in and for allowing us to share our story and also the opportunity to share details regarding the journey of others. We're very thankful to have had on our podcast.
Hey, Ramon, one of the things that we talked about offline is that we never really took the time to share why we began this venture with starting this podcast. So, I figured it'd be good for us to share a little bit about that. And, I'll start, but Ramon and I obviously have a great passion for the hospitality industry. And during this time, or during the time when the pandemic began and we saw so many people in our industry being impacted in a negative way, whether it be furloughs or terminations, and just the impact of the uncertainty of the future of our industry, we felt like it was important for us to be able to give back in a way that we could. And we felt that highlighting the stories of the people that are just as passionate as we are about our industry, we felt like it was important to highlight those stories and hopefully provide them an avenue to share their story and feel good about it. And also to have others also identify with their stories as well, because we all are able to hear others and identify our stories aligned with theirs, and be able to know that the future is still bright. And I think that all of our guests highlighted just that while they were very concerned about the industry and the future of the industry and how everything impacted them, they were all also very, very positive about what the future was going to hold, knowing that we would get back to, again, what we call that new normal. So it's obviously something that's where it began for us.
Yeah, I think back to a podcast off, and for me, it was, an opportunity to put those that make our industry so special on a pedestal. And that really is what it boils down to. We, as an industry, what truly makes us special is our people. The buildings that we're fortunate to serve guests in are fantastic. More often than not, they're beautiful and they're in great locations. But what truly sets us apart and makes those experiences come together in such a way that people leave saying nothing but great things, but wanting to come back or never wanting to leave, are the people within those buildings. And when we saw as an industry, many of our fellow family members and coworkers, let's call them, um, have to give up and not do something that really was part of them and part of their lives for so long. It was impactful, and we wanted to have the opportunity to tell those stories or allow those individuals to tell their stories. And also, if they were unfortunately not working at the time, which was very common for most of those in our industry, we wanted to put them on a pedestal such that other organizations and possible employers were listening and would afford them an opportunity to come in and work with them. And so, it was an opportunity to almost have sort of a spoken resume for some of the individuals that we had on our podcast. And so we're fortunate to be able to do that, tell their stories, and have some really good conversations and reflect on our industry and what we felt the future at that time would be for our industry. And as Jerry pointed out, we knew that the future would be bright. We know that our industry certainly right now is bouncing back already, but that we even at that time we felt strongly that it would bounce back, and it was just a matter of when, not if. And so we're fortunate to be at a point where things are getting better. We still have a ways to go, but the podcast allowed us an opportunity to really put those stories out there and give our listeners a perspective into the lives of those that work so hard to create these experiences.
Yeah, Ramon, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the special people that also remain. Only in this industry have I seen people that are so dedicated that they are willing to do whatever it takes to satisfy those guests that we do have in house. While we had very small numbers of, from an occupancy perspective, it's important, I think, that we give a nod to those individuals that did everything they could to still deliver a high level of service throughout this entire time. And, there are people that have been working in multiple departments, working multiple shifts, and doing things that were not at all part of their initial or their typical job description. But again, only in our industry do we have people that are or have been so willing to do whatever it takes during this difficult period. And I think it's important that we give a nod to those individuals as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because as an industry, we wear many hats already. Their cross training is not a new term that's used in the hospitality industry. It's been around for a very, very long time, and we're
Right.
fortunate to have so many passionate individuals. But I can tell you, and most of our listeners, if you're in the hospitality industry, would know that it was certainly compounded more prevalent during this pandemic period. We've had, the teams that you think about all hands on deck that are called typically in hotel environments. Well, the entire pandemic period was all hands on deck. People were
Right.
doing everything. Everyone was working banquets. Everyone's working housekeeping. Everyone
Exactly.
is participating in whatever process needs to be executed to take care of those guests that are walking through the doors, as you mentioned. And so I think although the pandemic was tough and certainly rough to get through in many ways. And I think going back to my point earlier, the toughest part was seeing some of our fellow family members not be there with us. It was also a time where you built a bond with those individuals that you were fortunate to have retained on property to get you through this period. And I could not be more thankful to those associates because they truly are the ones who really kept our industry going and put us in a position where now today where we see sort of the tide shift that we're in a position where we can rebound a lot faster because those individuals rode this out with us. And so we're fortunate to have some great individuals working in our industry.
One thing that I've seen demonstrated here is that while we all were impacted and we saw a severe limitation of services, I really found that every single individual that we had on board had such a passion for hospitality that their goal was still to deliver the same level of service. And one of the things that I believe has happened is that for those that remained, and also for those that we continue to bring back, which is another bright story right now as we continue to bring familiar faces back into the fold. What I found is that we're that much stronger as a core team, that much stronger as an industry. The people that have such a passion for the industry, they're all coming back, and
Mm-hmm.
or all looking to come back as soon as possible. And by no means are we there yet. We're not beyond the pandemic completely yet, but it is great to see things start to come back, and people start to come back, even if they were furloughed coming back, or even if they temporarily transitioned into another industry coming back. And you mentioned this in season one, that we may lose some people for a time, but the hope and goal was that they would always come back, and it's great to start to see that come to be.
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting period right now, and I compare it a lot right now with my fellow coworkers to opening a hotel, a brand new hotel. Been fortunate to do that, and the reality is it's a process where you build a strong bond. And you mentioned some of those associates that are coming back. Even with those associates, as they participate in this process of not only rebuilding what we have as a hotel, but rebuilding what we have as an industry, is truly special. And so we're ready for it. I mean, to your point, we're not there yet, but we are moving at a very, very good pace in the right direction, such that I feel that we're going to come back better. We're as an industry, we've faced similar, not similar because nothing's been like this pandemic, but certainly impactful periods in history, like 9/11 and the like, that unfortunately impacted our industry as well. And we came back just as strong, if not stronger. And I think we will come back from this in a major way as well. And I see it, and I think that the talent and the associates that we are fortunate to have on board are really making it such that I really feel that it's going to be better than it was before. And so we're moving at a great pace.
Right, and for those that are in our industry that have not yet made their return, we we welcome them
Yeah.
with open arms, and we hope that those of you that are in our industry or were in our industry that maybe have left temporarily, we hope that you are looking to come back. The industry is going to be stronger than ever. We know that. What this pandemic has shown us is that people love to travel. They need to travel. They need to interact, and we see the evidence of that now as travel starts to resume. We're seeing it every day. So we definitely welcome you back and look forward to welcoming you back, I should say. And one of the interesting things that I've seen uh, as far as our industry is that I've even seen people starting to come back, and it may be in different roles, but they're coming back, and
Hmm.
that's okay too. That's what's great about our industry, is that we've got different flavors that we offer, right, of different things that you can
Hmm.
do. You may have been in accounting yesterday, and now you're in sales tomorrow, or vice versa. So we've experienced that as well, and that's exciting to see as well. And for those that have not made their way back yet, I can promise you that things are going to look and feel different. That's definitely something that we're experiencing. While we look to rebuild, we're wearing multiple hats, right? Everybody is in the building, and that there's something special about that too. As we mentioned, we give a nod to those that have been doing it, but as we onboard new people back into the industry, at least for a period of time, it's gonna look and feel like that, right? That people are gonna be wearing multiple hats and experiencing
this side of hospitality a little bit differently, but that's okay.
Yeah, by no means is this apples to apples comparison, but I think about my time growing up in the industry and working and wearing multiple hats. I think back to my role as a doorman and cross training at the desk, where I was, I'd bring them in, load them up outside, bring them in, jump behind the front desk, check them in, and then bring them up, and if they
Right.
called for something for housekeeping, I brought that up too.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
we have a little bit of that going on, obviously, as our buildings come back and as we rebuild. Everyone's wearing multiple hats, but it's a special time. And it's certainly, as I mentioned earlier, it's an opportunity to build a bond and to learn and to grow. Most of my growth took place in that period where I wore so many hats, and eventually, was rewarded with my entry level into leadership as a result. And so I think this provides an opportunity for many within our industry to shine. While we're still executing our number one goal, which is to make sure that, create positive memories and welcome people for so many different occasions, good, bad. Either one, we have an opportunity to make their experience better. And so, to your point, I mean, everything's going to look a little different, but what we're staying true to is that we're taking care of our guests, and we're taking care of our associates, taking care of each other. People, you mentioned associates, I'm sorry, you mentioned the guests wanting to get out, and certainly travel coming back, and we're feeling it, we're seeing it in the numbers. But there's something special about the camaraderie and the interactions that we have with each other as associates within the hotel environment, that we're getting back to as well, and feels really, really good. So we're looking forward to that new normal, and looking forward to stabilizing and continue to grow our business and bring our industry back. And that's, certainly what season two will be about, is certainly highlighting some of that and some of the folks in our industry that have come back or close to coming back, and what their outlooks, what their outlook is at this point, where based upon where the industry is.
Right, right. No, and I'm glad you highlight that, and that could be a good segue into our talk about season two. And obviously, we're appreciative of those that joined us for season one, as I mentioned, and we want to continue. There's so many people that are so special in our industry. We wouldn't have enough time to host all of them here on our podcast, but we want to continue in season two to highlight all of those special people of our industry. And we're going to take a little bit of a different focus, obviously, as we look to transition out of this pandemic, hopefully. And we want to kind of shift our focus to continuing to highlight that special talent, but we're going to focus a little bit more on a lot of things like the diversity in our industry, and also highlight special people in leadership, whether it be women in leadership, whether it be minorities in leadership. And we think it's also important to shine a light on those individuals as well. And again, there's so many people that fall within that window that we could highlight, but we're going to do our best to shine a light on as many of them as we possibly can.
I think those are such great points. And, even throughout this pandemic, for those of us that remained in our hotels, I unfortunately closed the property that I was at for a couple months and then reopened. Uh, we were deemed as essential workers. And you go through this exercise of thinking about, okay, what do we represent as an industry as a whole? It was evident to me, not only because we're classified as essential workers, but because we played a crucial role in housing individuals that needed that in their at a very desperate moment in our lives and through the pandemic. But what really stood out were the people that remained and worked within our industry and helped us get through that, as I mentioned. And so, to highlight those individuals and discuss the makeup of our industry and the diversity and how rich that is, and how many people within our industry truly feel that this is not only their livelihood, but this is a special part of their lives. I think it's important to highlight that through our podcast, and put these individuals on pedestals, allow them to tell their story, and ensure that people know what we represent, outside of just providing accommodations, but what we represent to the cities that our hotels are fortunate to be in, but also to the individuals that are fortunate to work within our industry. There's so much that we want to unpack in season 2, and it's it's exciting. But one of the other things that Ramon and I both are fortunate of is we grew up in this industry. We started in line level positions, and this is an industry that afforded us an opportunity to reach endless goals. And we're still striving to reach more and more goals. And this industry has definitely laid the foundation and afforded us the opportunity to work towards those. And we're not unique in that. So we want to also shed a light on those individuals who have done just the same. And again, there's endless amount of stories of individuals just like us that have come into this industry and either not known what they wanted to do or had the goal set of being a department head, being an executive committee member, being a general manager, a director of sales and marketing, et cetera. And we want to highlight those stories of those individuals that have come into this industry and reached their goals or are on well on their way to reaching their goals. And I think it's important to highlight that because this is an industry that I believe has that door open to anyone who seeks to walk through it. So I think it's important that we share that and hopefully provide a path for others to know that not only you and I did it, others have done it, and that the opportunity is there for anyone who seeks it.
Yeah, I think you make such a great point. I think about not only my entry to the industry, but a conversation that I had with the general manager while I was in New Orleans and I was a doorman. I was asked, "Hey, what do you want to do? What would you like to see yourself doing in a few years within this industry?" And I'm speaking to the general manager, and I said, "I want to sit in your chair. I want to be a general manager." And his exact words to me were, "Go for it. Let's cross train. Let's do this." And what other industry affords you that opportunity to start off as a doorman and and eventually reach your goal of being general manager, and then have to set another goal and continue that process of growth. I think that this
And you
industry,
were in
yeah,
high school. You were in high
yeah,
school at the time. So
yeah, so I mean that's amazing. It's an amazing story, but it wasn't just me. You think back to other stories like Barry Sternlicht that was a bellman and
right.
eventually heads up Starwood at the time. And so this is an industry that affords people that opportunity that I think some that don't know that may take that for granted and not necessarily know that this is a path that you can take for growth and you'll be developed along the way and invested in such that eventually when you turn back and look and I started off in this industry in 1996 right out of high school 1996 1997 and you turn around and you reach a point where you're averaging growth every year, a leadership growth every year, and all it takes is hard work and those that are around you that focus on your development. But an industry that really um, really it gives you an experience or the ability to experience so many things such that your growth is going to take place through that journey. So I think that to your point, it's important to showcase stories because it's not just us, you and I, in terms of how we've grown up in this industry. There's so many other stories that speak to the same thing. So we should put those individuals on pedestals and allow them the opportunity to tell their story, and through that storytelling, hopefully pique the interest of some others that maybe weren't thinking of our industry and now choose to give it an opportunity to be part of their lives.
No, definitely, definitely. And look, I am so excited about season 2, and I
Yeah,
think that
very much.
it's gonna be great to, as you pointed out, share those stories and hopefully lay a roadmap for those that are looking to hopefully come and join us on and hopefully experience the same journey that we experience and hear about some of the ups and downs that people experience and we've definitely experienced those as well. There's a lot of peaks and valleys as you
Yeah.
grow in this industry, but those are also important to help you grow. And I'm hopeful that a lot of our guests are going to be able to shed some light on that too, share what they experienced, the good, bad, and the ugly, and hopefully help others not have to experience those pitfalls. Others can learn from our mistakes and successes and failures, which I think all are equally as important to share. And I think even our discussion regarding our journey through this pandemic period is valuable, and we should have really honest and meaningful discussion about that as we discuss the last few months with our guests. And so I'm excited about season 2 as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be able to showcase a lot of great individuals. Good. Well, with that being said, again, we wanted to share this discussion with you all as we look to introduce season 2 of the Hospitality Twins podcast. We hope that you guys will join us on this journey that is this podcast, and hopefully you share this podcast with others who may benefit from it. That's our hope and goal, is to be able to pay it forward and hopefully help others along their path to success in this industry. We hope you've enjoyed this special episode of the Hospitality Twins podcast. Ramon and I are excited to begin season 2. In season 2, we will shine a light on the special people of our industry, discuss the diversity of our industry, and the many success stories in hospitality. Please like and share our podcast, and stay tuned for our first episode that will launch next Tuesday.